listening to Peak One Sports.
All right, welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Sports Page. I'm Dan Boyer, aka Neon Super Shrimp, joined as always by Ashton and once again Chris. Welcome back, buddy.
Yes, how you doing? How you guys doing?
I just realized, you hadn't. This is your first Sports Page episode in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Yeah,
so
probably
this is the first one for 24 for you, or have you been on since the new year?
Do we count the Super Bowl, the big show on the Super Bowl?
I mean, you've been on Peak One Sports, but not the Sports Page.
Yeah. So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been
we've missed you, buddy.
Yeah, missed you guys. How's it been?
I mean, we've been doing good. How you doing, Ashton?
I'm doing good. It's kind of been my fault you haven't been on there because I've been trying to juggle my schedule, and I had a vehicle incident yesterday. I had to get the truck towed, so we were trying to record this yesterday, but I thought we were gonna have to kick you off again for time.
Oh no, we're good. Yeah, I had to make time, and this is I love it. So it's good to see you guys. Good to be back.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, February 21st kicks off this week's episode. Before we get started, shout out to Betalytics. Don't bet with your gut. Use Betalytics. And as always, you can use our promo code Ashton. It's Peak One Sports, or is it Peak
It's just Peak One.
Peak One for 50% off. So go ahead and check out Betalytics and win some of that money. Shout out to us if you and them if you manage to put a little cash in your pocket. This week, don't have too much to talk about. I think we got a few kind of intermittent topics to talk about, but coming right off the NBA All-Star weekend, Ashton, we actually just talked about last week's episode, the NFL All-Star game. But Chris, thoughts about the All-Star game? Do you like it? Do you hate it? I feel like it's kind of this hit and miss thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think this year was probably one of the lower. Like it just kind of was a little boring to me. I wasn't really too excited. You know, some years, especially like previous years, it was really competitive, and for it to get to 200 points, it was kind of just like whatever. Especially because it wasn't really a close game. It was a blowout, pretty much from the jump. I feel like the East came out. I also said that too. Like you look at the West roster, and it was probably one of the better rosters probably ever. They had so many names, so many big names. Steph, LeBron, you had KD, Kawhi, everybody. And then the East had a lot of up-and-coming stars that, kind of were like maybe trying to make their mark. Tyrese Halliburton, Giannis is still emerging. Dame's on the other side now. So, all those all-star games he's missed, because of Steph and, the other point guards in the West, he probably was trying to make a statement, and he did, win MVP. So, it was just kind of just like it was one of those games where I just kind of had on in the background. It wasn't like I sat and, just was very much tuned in. I sat and watched it, but it was kind of just, it was okay,
No, I feel like I was kind of the same way. I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention, just kind of on in the background. Every time I look up at the score, I was just like, geez, is this really the score? Like, I can't believe it's getting out of hand,
Yeah.
Like 100 points by halftime. I was like, man, it's getting to be too much. Like, nobody was really playing any defense. Ashton, what do you think?
Yeah. On our leadoff episode last weekend, we were talking, about it was Saturday morning, so only a few things had happened that Friday night.
Right. Shout out leadoff.
Yeah, and Tony was giving me the lineup of everything that was going to happen, and he said you could watch the All-Star Game practice live on, I guess, NBA TV or whatever. And I was just thinking, what's the difference? I mean, that's all it is. The game itself, I kind of just had it on, really felt obligated because, we do sports podcasts, and I thought, I felt bad when we talked about the Pro Bowl, and I'm like, honestly, I didn't even care to watch. It wasn't all that entertaining. I mean, watching people jack up threes, I mean, even if you made 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 threes, I mean, you're still going to, miss a lot. And that's what it felt like. There wasn't really any offense ran. A little defense at the beginning. It was pretty interesting to see them actually try and try to block some shots and play a little bit of defense. But it's like they just went up there. There were some cool dunks, I guess, and a lot of three-pointers. And it was just like, what are we doing here? I watched it thinking a lot of offense is kind of fun, but it was the most offense ever. And it's just because there's no defense being played. I mean, I would rather, call me a stupid white guy that likes basketball fundamentals, but I didn't think I did all that much. But I'm like, come on, let's, bring it back to basic a little bit. You're just jacking up threes. And, cool, you're showing that you can make a lot of threes and, I can't, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I was watching it at one point, and I think it was the fourth quarter and everything, and I think it was Jokic was like down in the corner playing a little defense. I can't remember who it was, but he just kind of like came around him, and Jokic took like a very lazy swat at him, and he just kind of drove up for the reverse layup. And I was like,
which I get,
man, are we like coaching these kids on how to like drive lanes, or like are we
then
like basketball? Like, what are we doing?
Luka shot a half court shot or a full court shot. It was like 30 seconds left, and then he missed a layup at the very beginning. I'm like, okay, they clearly set the precedent. They're not really trying to.
Well, yeah, Luka and Jokic for sure. They've made it clear they don't care about it, and that doesn't bother me. I don't care. I mean, they're honest about it. Like they really don't care. It looked like LeBron kind of had a game face on.
Yeah, he was.
But you could tell when they introduced him, Luka and Jokic were just kind of in their own world in their head. They didn't care, And I get not playing hard defense. I mean, it's not quite the NFL, but you don't want to risk injury because it really doesn't matter at all. And, I kept checking in on, the score. Like it didn't seem like Luka played much, but just to see how many points Luka was scoring, look at his stat line. It might be kind of interesting, but honestly, I was kind of,
10 points, I think, or like 8
I
or
think
something
it was like
that.
7 or 8 points.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But I was kind of rooting for them to score 200 when they got over 100 at halftime. I was like,
oh, for sure. I wanted to see it.
Why not? Yeah, let's just see what it would look like. And it's,
and it was very lackluster.
It was.
In the end, I was like, 200 points.
Yeah, I was like,
whatever.
Yeah, if the other team, I could score 200
if
points
I saw
in
it in a
48
real
minutes,
game,
if
you
no
saw
one's
it in a real
blocking
200
me.
points, that would be something else. But man, I feel like I don't even know if the conversation would be about that offense or about that defense if you saw an actual team. So you guys think should they fix the All-Star game? Should we turn it into like a street style 3-on-3 or something? Maybe like a tournament among the players
make an
or something?
incentive.
Like,
I think it should be like some sort of
incentivize it somehow.
Like maybe like the winner, like winning team gets $1,000, $1 million bonus. 1,000 won't do anything for them. They'll still, but maybe like $1 million bonus or like a
they
500,000
split among the team or something.
I mean, something to get like the juices flowing, because like early 2000s and then maybe the early 2010s, it would be 3/4 of the show where everyone's doing the crazy dunks, and then the last quarter they would really lock in. So it was like even that one year whenever they had like a goal score. So like whenever you play pickup, you go into 12. I think they were going to like 48 or something like that. That one was a really competitive game as well. So like something we have to add something, because it was just kind of just a practice and everybody was just.
That's not a bad idea. Change the format to like a dart style, like a goal score.
Like a goal score. Yeah.
Do I like your idea, like 3-on-3 or something? Like maybe do like 5-guy teams or whatever. Do kind of like a little bit of a tournament. I mean, if you're going to be gimmicky anyways, like why do you have to have the actual All-Star game?
Yeah.
Right. Well, even with, and this will help us transition a little bit into the skills aspect of the All-Star weekend. Like they decided this year, throughout the skills contest, that they did teams of 3 this year instead of just individual players. So, I mean, you've already kind of got that setup going, so I don't see how it would necessarily be any different or more difficult to kind of take your all-stars, divide them up into maybe like 4 teams of 3 or 4 each, where you have like
that would
an
be
extra sub. And then you would have, kind of an extra all-star trophy for you and your team of 3 or 4 to go win. And
you already have an in-season tournament.
Even make it like a half-court style,
like an all-star tournament championship.
That'd be perfect.
I mean, I'm just like,
shout out NBA. Let us know if you want to use our idea. We're very cheap.
I mean, not that it would be necessarily more entertaining to have a street ball style, it probably would be more entertaining. But if we're going for, hey, it doesn't matter, no one's going to try anyways, we're just going to go score 200 points, at least make it different for me. Don't make me sit there and watch a regulation NBA game.
Right.
Just with all-stars, I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you can do. I don't think it's near as bad as the Pro Bowl and the NFL festivities.
Nah,
I
yeah.
even watched the celebrity game, which was kind of cool. It was very
That was probably better
gimmicky.
than the actual game.
It
Yeah,
was better
yeah,
than
because
the
they
actual
had the
game.
weird the
Yeah.
4-point shot. They had, hey, everything's double for the next 2 minutes, and like Michael
Yeah,
Parsons
that's
made like
cool.
3 baskets, but he had like 11 points.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty entertaining. I know, I don't want to get too in depth because I know you're going to ask more questions on it, Dan. But overall, yeah, it was pretty lackluster. You can go back to the 80s and 90s and say it was better, but overall, I don't think it's a big deal. I watched quite a bit of all of what was going
Yeah.
on, which is a lot more than I can say about the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
mean,
didn't
we
watch
can.
any of the Pro Bowl.
Right. Well, I mean, this helps us move a little bit more too into, maybe they could use that sweet LED screen that they debuted on the skills challenges and
Yeah.
everything on Saturday.
That was cool.
I personally thought it was really cool. It was
Me too.
it made for like a very like unique way to introduce the players and the coaches. I don't know if you guys saw. I think it was for like the 3-point competition, but they had managed like it looked like the players were on like pedestals in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
Just before when they did those
that's really
intros,
cool.
I thought that was like a really cool way to intro players and everything. So, what'd you guys think? I liked it a lot. Any negative thoughts on the LED screen? Maybe some additional uses? Could they bring it into the regular season?
I think that's where they're going because I can't remember who was talking about it. It was one of the players, or I think it was a retired player, but they were talking about it and like, yeah, it's a little slick or a little slippery for now. And when they said for now, I'm like, okay, they're 100% trying to implement this in the game. And outside of any safety issues, if you can make it pretty much the same as playing on a real court, I don't think it's actual wood anymore.
Yeah, just real quick for those that don't know, it's 2 layers of glass that they've put on the court for the LED lights to shine down on. TV. So it's not your traditional wood floor. This is glass, but it is a safety glass. It's a special safety glass they developed.
So basically they use it. They change the lights on the court. I know when the celebrity game they did crunch time or whatever it was, it turned blue and red, and they were able to track the players as you're running around.
Right? Wasn't that cool? I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it actually tracked them running or if it was somebody following them on there, but it was still pretty cool. I could see in the future doing this. You can put ads, different ads on the court or whatever.
Definitely.
But how I don't know how long they've been doing it, but it seems like a recent thing, like in the NFL and college football when they're doing intros and the team's running out, every light in the stadium like flashes on and off.
Yeah.
I think they're going to implement that where it flashes to some extent, without being too dangerous for epileptics or whatever. I don't know exactly what who it's dangerous for, but do it on announcing the home team players and the lineups and things like that. I mean, I think it's cool. Outside of any safety issues it might bring up for the players, I don't see any negatives with it. I think implement it's cool. Why not?
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It kind of reminds me of like, the FCF, what we did in the FCF, and they had like LED stuff, throughout the course of the, the arena that we played in. And, on TV, it would show like when they had like progressive timeouts and they would show the ads on the field. So like the field would be like the TV screen. So it was pretty cool. And it kind of reminded me of that. I'm all for it. I feel like, there's going to be a change in technology here pretty soon. It's been a change in technology, but just moving forward towards that sort of realm of, announcing players and maybe stats, the shot clocks, just kind of, things like that. I think it'll be, very cool to see. And I really enjoyed it. So
you say shot clock, and I'm thinking that's because it's cool that they put the shot clock on the court for TV. Like obviously you can't see it there. So we, as the fans, don't have to look away down at the scoreboard to see the shot clock or whatever. And I think that would be, the players probably wouldn't notice any different. I don't even know if it might be distracting for them, but it would be good for the crowd where they could keep looking. They don't have to look, because it's even worse when you're at the game. Like on TV, you're watching, you look down but you like look up wherever the closest, I guess, depending on where you're sitting, where the closest shot clock is, but you can just look and you know how everybody counts down the shot clock and
Yeah.
all that. I think that would be cool. I don't know how much you could put on there, but I think it'd be cool where they already have ads, changing ads. I mean, that doesn't,
Yeah, throughout. Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. That doesn't help, at the viewer.
I totally agree. Honestly, that's a great idea with the shot clock. Maybe you could like stick it in like the corners or something.
Mhm.
I don't think it would be too distracting. And in all honesty, it would even kind of like inform the players a little bit better, easier.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all honesty, like, I don't necessarily think you have to do the extremes that they were doing with like the celebrity game where it was on for like the whole game, but you can definitely use it like between periods and at halftime. You could add a few things for like your intros and things like that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think it's a great idea and something awesome for the NBA to kind of build on to help bring in more fans and get more people like interested in the game. In all honesty, too, what I would love to see is almost like an NBA Jam type deal where it's like normal type floor, but it's like maybe after a guy hits a couple of shots, he's on fire. You put like a little animated fire ring around him and he's like dribbling up the court or something.
That's
like that'd be kind of cool to see, right? You'd be like, oh man, like LeBron's on fire. Like that'd be kind of cool.
I think it'd be cool too for arenas with like multi-purpose. Like obviously the Clippers and Lakers are I believe the last team that play in the same arena, and Clippers are getting their own arena anyways. But like if you have college tournaments or whatever, like I know March Madness, you could put it in NBA arenas and easily change the floor, and you could make it look, they made it look like a real wooden floor, like in one of the games where you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference, and you could just switch that on and off without actually having to do the manual labor. Like you could leave it on for high school basketball tournaments. I mean, obviously all of this happening at the same time, and you don't have to worry about messing with an arena for an NBA game where you could have a couple of high school games in the middle of the day and then at night NBA game. No big deal.
I mean, you could have like an interchangeable floor for home games now, like you'd be able to change your
because they already have that, for like the city Connect or whatever it's called this year. The in-season tournament had certain court designs, so you would know it was the in-season tournament. Like I said earlier, you could just come up with like 82 or I guess 41 different floors for your 41 home games and have a different one each time and not really have to pay
like whenever they have like military nights and things like that.
So I mean, I think there's some big things that we'll probably see, maybe not necessarily in like the near future, maybe not in the next season or two or anything, but I think we'll see some implementation of this at least in like a handful of arenas or something over the next few years.
I think what they probably should do, they should probably try to maybe do it in the G League, maybe try to like just to see how it would fare. And
honestly, I'm thinking try it out in Vegas.
Well, that too.
You know what I mean? Like,
well,
like try a limited market, maybe just like 3 home stadiums. You make Vegas one of them.
Yeah, we've seen shout out to the NFL that as many people hate turf that they've put their foot down and they're not going to care one way or the other. So if there's a way to make money off of this, player safety is just going to go by the wayside. If you see what the NFL does. So
I mean, they'll do some player safety stuff, but they definitely won't.
I mean, NBA Players Association is a lot better than the NFL Players Association. I mean, NFLPA just gives all the rights to the owners anyway. So that's a conversation for a different show.
A whole nother show.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we agree then. All in all, NBA All-Star Weekend needs some work, but that LED screen is dope.
I'll give it a B-. I'll give the whole experience like a B-.
I definitely feel like I probably enjoyed watching and seeing the floor more than I enjoyed the majority of it.
For sure, because I didn't know until like the week before that's what they were doing. And really, I didn't have I didn't grasp the full understanding of what was happening until I watched the celebrity game.
Yeah.
Like, because I thought half the stuff I was seeing until they, explained it was like stuff I could see, not them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did the whole spiel on the LED floor. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
They had 4 different floors for the different competitions and
and part of the game, the celebrity game, anyways, they had like the little circle around who had the ball. It's kind of like a video game.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, well, to move on a little bit then. over the weekend, Jordan Spieth in the Genesis Invitational was DQ'd on Friday after signing a illegal
scorecard.
Incorrect scorecard. Yeah,
incorrect scorecard.
I'm still confused on that. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say.
So
about it.
I guess for those of you that aren't aware, Jordan Spieth signed the incorrect scorecard for a par on, I believe it was the 3 hole on Friday, where he actually scored a bogey.
Yeah, he'd written that he scored a 3.
A 3 on the 3.
It was a 4.
It was a par 3 when he actually scored a 4. But yeah, so he was DQ'd for the rest of the weekend. He didn't get to tee off on Saturday because of, honestly, what seems like a very kind of ancient and outdated rule.
Yeah.
So kind of even across the board here, I want to talk about like rules in sports a little bit and how much an organization should, try to stay ahead of these things, especially an organization as old and storied as PGA. I mean, PGA has been around for a long, long time. And does it seem appropriate that in 2024 we're still signing physical scorecards?
Yeah, probably in pencil.
Players are responsible for. Guys, Ashton.
If you want to do that, fine. To make it a rule, like I understand the rule. If you want to find a sport that's pure, has purists more than baseball, golf is definitely it. And I like golf. I love watching golf.
Probably like that at tennis too, maybe.
Yeah, and tennis. That's fine if you want to keep your own scores. It's kind of I don't even think it's a thing about keeping people from cheating anymore, because everybody keeps score. There are people that sit down and watch the PGA religiously and will keep score, and then if something's wrong, they'll call in to whoever. Like there have been score changes because people have called in and said, "Hey, this is wrong. They should have a penalty stroke here," or something like that. The fact that this is so ancient, like they started the thing because you're responsible for keeping your own score, but there are like 50 other people already keeping score, so it doesn't matter. That'd be like asking LeBron James, "Hey, you scored 30 points in the first half. Can you sign this to say, confirm you scored?" And then getting penalized and disqualified because he signed it and it was wrong. Like people are keeping the score. And then he went in, I believe he went into the 10 after his round. The PGA official will check it before you sign off on it. And this guy, for whatever reason, said, "Hey, our scores and your scores match up." And for whatever reason they did, he signed it and walked out. It's obviously not a cheating situation.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they do this. This is dumb. It's one sport where that literally cost him a couple $100,000, probably from where he would have finished. It's dumb. I don't understand it. It's like taking away that rule can be the most victimless crime there is, because everybody else is keeping score. CBS keeps the score for all the players. They keep the score there at the events. Why does it matter if he keeps his own scores and signs the card? Like if he signed the card that, whatever his score for the day was, where his stroke was one less, it's not like that goes in the official record keeping. Like you said, if you watch this a round of golf on CBS, the score as soon, as he's going, but as soon as he's finished, we're not, all right, let's wait for him to sign his scorecard and see what his score is. What it is. It's a dumb rule. It hasn't happened to this, a big extent to a player like Jordan Spieth. So we hadn't really known. I know it's happened in the past, but nobody's really cared.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're going to change the rules, and really, it doesn't matter if they do, because this probably won't happen again, not to Jordan Spieth anymore anyway. But yeah, dumb rule. They should get rid of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're talking about the one sport where the player is the only person that's actually responsible for their score. And the fact of the matter is, by the time he finished, we knew what his score was. It wasn't found out until later.
Yeah, they came up with this
signed a bad
score before
scorecard. So
technology,
I agree,
and
kind of
TV,
silly.
And, but whatever.
Chris?
Yeah. I've been trying to just, listen and trying to gain all this information. It's just like, you're right. Like, it's just, at this point, it's 2024. We just have to do away with these old, I understand that, golf is one of those pure sports. It's like, like baseball. I feel like tennis is kind of in that realm where, this precedent has been set, and that's what they follow. But that's just dumb to me, especially
it doesn't really affect the game.
It doesn't affect anything. Yeah, it doesn't affect anything exactly. So it's just it sucks, especially with the guys Jordan Spieth's caliber. So it's I think that's probably why it's come to light so much, because it is Jordan Spieth. But at the same time, it's like that shouldn't affect. That's a lot of money on the line for something that can easily, either be fixed or something that just doesn't affect, anything really. So that sucks though. And I kind of read up on it while you guys were talking about it. It's just like that's stupid. I'm not gonna lie. That's just
yeah. No, I mean, if we're really talking about it, I mean, I think all of these sports, all sports, I mean, have always they've always evolved and changed over time.
Exactly.
And I mean, in all honesty, the one I'm thinking of right off the top of my head is bowling. I mean, bowling used to be, scored by hand, and fans that were watching would also kind of keep score, and you would have to turn in a scorecard and everything. But guess what? They evolved and they started using computers. Guess who doesn't track their score anymore, all the way to the end of the game? Bowlers, like they finish their tournaments and they know what their score is because the computer fucking tracked them the whole time. Yeah. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me that, golf is this one sport where they are in fact being tracked by like computers and officials and things like that. And they finish their 18th hole, they've got a score, and then they turn in their scorecard and, it's off by, like Ashton said, like a stroke. And they're like, oh, well, this is wrong. And now you're out of the whole tournament.
It's like doing your taxes, where if you write down the wrong number, you'll get in trouble because they know the right number, but they want you to do all the work to figure it out. It's like, why don't you just tell me, Yeah. Yeah. It's dumb.
And I mean, unfortunately, I think rule changes usually come on the backside of something like this. Something happens where somebody gets hurt, or it affects the outcome of a game, or whatever it is.
We need to change it.
And then the league looks back and they're like, oh,
mentality.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, well, maybe we fix this or change.
I mean, it's true. I mean, if there's not a reason to change something, like why would you? I just know that when I play golf, and I know you play 4 rounds a week, every week, it's different, but I forget to keep my score a lot. I'll get like on the 6th hole and crap, I didn't write anything down the last 3 holes, and I'm trying to remember what I shot. But that's just one less thing they have to worry about. Why not just let them focus on the game? Not that it's probably a big deal, but
all the technology believe me when I say like they're writing notes down on like the conditions and how that stroke went and what iron they used and whatever. Like they're writing plenty of stuff down. And for the most part, they know how many strokes it took them, to get there. Sometimes you just have a little bit of a brain fart. You write a 3 instead of a 4, and you're like, oh, my bad, like whatever. But it's like, in this day and age, it just doesn't make sense to me that you're still like, make sure you guys write the right numbers down on your card with your pencil and sign it at the end. It's like, we know what your score is. We know what you got. Like, we're not going to let you cheat. Like
too much technology. Like you can tell me how far I drove the ball. You can tell me, like the slopes, the conditions of the green, and like it's.
Yeah, it tracks the ball when you hit it instantly.
Exactly.
It shows you where the ball's going.
Yeah.
But you can't. But I have to write my score down. That's stupid.
Yeah. All right. Well, it had to be a short episode this week. I got to get home for dinner, but. Make sure to like and subscribe the video if you haven't already. Hit the alerts button to get any alerts for all the videos that come up from Peak One Sports. For this week's episode of the Sports Page, I'm Dan, Ashton.
See y'all
Chris.
guys later.
We'll see y'all next week.
All right. See you guys.